Hey guys, Liz here with Springfield Leather, a whole 2 minutes early even. Let's see here. We are starting where we left off yesterday with our clutch interior, our little trifold clutch interior. We called it, was it the 001 or the 002? Now I don't remember. The one. All right. They're both called ladies clutch interiors, and one is just like black half and one is black. So that was really, we should work on that actually. So just the black clutch, but this is the one with the edge binding that comes on the clutch. And so yesterday I started putting the binding on after I glued my back on. But when we finished the video yesterday, I went through and I kind of made some adjustments to where I had been. So I just want to go over some tips that I discovered yesterday just in doing this process. When it comes to having edge binding, your edge binding is typically really, really thin. So you're going to have like 1 to 1.5 ounces is probably ideal. You want something fairly stretchy so you can get it around the corner, but that means that it doesn't have a lot of body to hide blemishes that are underneath. And so one thing that you guys need to take note of when you're doing anything with an edge binding or when you're putting edge binding on is that the edge underneath still matters. And so you want to make that as flush as possible. And I had several spots where my outside panel that I added didn't quite line up with the inside part that I had put it on. And once you stretch that binding over, you can see all of those bumps and ridges and all of that. So I peeled everything back. So what I'm going to suggest is either you can remove the binding altogether, but then you have to put it all back on, and that kind of seems like a hoopla. So pulling it back all the way off of the edge until you have it kind of where it's just sticking to the front of the inside of your interior. And then what I did is I laid it down real flat, and then I just trimmed off any irregular parts that didn't match up with the inside of the interior. So I just took my knife, you can use whatever you have, and I just trimmed up that outside until it matched with all of the other. If you wanted to remove it altogether, or pull it back far enough to where you could get in and actually sand the edge, I think that would be the most ideal, because then everything is going to be as even and smoothed down as possible for when you roll that over. Just because your binding material is so stretchy and thin, it's going to show all, you know, it's like wearing yoga pants. You're going to see everything. That's the reference that I have for you. Your binding is like yoga pants, and you're going to see all the parts underneath. So just make it as smooth as possible before you do that. And then I have gotten most of the binding reattached here, but I did leave this one corner left because I just kind of wanted to show you guys that haven't done a corner before. We're going to go zoom. Just how to accomplish this kind of roll on the corner. So I've got my glue applied. It's been sitting for a few minutes here before we got started. So basically I'm going to work my way into the corner. So I'm going to start from the edge, and this binding is split up into a top piece and a bottom piece. So you do have 2 seams that will sit on the back of it. So you just want to get those matched up as closely as possible. So I'm going to start rolling and sticking. Pull it nice and tight, stick it down until I'm kind of coming up to that corner. And then I'm going to go to the other side, and we're going to work our way into the corner. Now having like a little smoothing device is super handy, like Denny's ticklers that he uses. We're going to flip that corner over. But just any sort of smoothing stick, or if you have an antler that's nice and smooth, you can use your antler. And then I'm gonna like kind of pinch right at the outer corners, and then I'm gonna pinch in the middle right? So we're just gonna pinch that down. And once again, we will be trimming this off. So a lot of this bulk that is happening on the inside will get trimmed off, but you just don't want to come in hard from one side or the other, because then you're not going to, it's just going to be, your excess allowance isn't going to be taken up in nice increments. It's going to be smushed into one section. So I like to come in a little bit from this side, come in a little bit from this side, and then pinch in the middle and kind of get everything seated down. And once again, I did not put glue all the way to the edge, so this edge is going to kind of flare up a little bit, but I wanted it that way because it's going to make it easier to trim once we actually get this sewn down. So now we have our binding attached all the way around. I'm just going to just hammer it out. I'm going to hammer out. You can't see that, but I got my granite over here. Going to hammer that out. Perfect. Get everything nice and seated. So we are looking pretty darn good. And then what you want to do is you want to make sure that you set whatever your seam allowance is going to be shallow enough to catch everything, which is why if you are putting binding on your own project, you always put a deeper amount of binding on the inside than the outside, or whichever side you're going to sew. The underside from that, so I'm going to sew from the top, right? Because I want this to be my top stitch because it's the outside. So on the bottom, I want to make sure that I have more binding than I do at the top, just in case my stitching goes awry a little bit. You don't want to fall off the binding on the inside. So always oversizing your binding by like 1/8 of an inch is a really good idea, especially when you're doing like those, the French rolled edge. No, that's the French seam. Is it the French edge? Whichever is the one where you put your lining material here, and then you sew it down, and then you flip it over, and then you sew it again. You want to make sure that you have plenty to sew down on that backside. Somebody help me out here. I was not prepared to reference that thing. French rolled edge, is that what it is? I think it was like the French seam, but now I think I'm getting them confused. So anyways, if you guys know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, let's sew this baby up. But just make sure that when you go to sew it, the amount that you're going to have to trim, you remember how yesterday we talked about the card doesn't fit in it because the binding is too wide? You have to trim this binding. It's meant to be trimmed. So it's oversized so you can stitch it easily and then trim it. Once again, if you're lacing this, you just remove the binding altogether, glue down your back, and lace the edge, which we are going to do on the next one, which is much simpler. But if you're using the binding, just be aware of all of that. All right, here we go. I've got my class 26 set up with 138 top and bottom, and I'm going to start on kind of like right above where that top seam, or like one of these side seams is, and I'll run over it, and then this will be my back stitch over here on the side, but that should be the least noticeable situation. Get all my threads here in the right spot. Got my edge guide set up. Holding my threads while I get started, and then I can let them loose. Gotta walk over all those pockets. Ooh, look at that hit. got the machine set up to go real slow, which isn't a bad thing. Better to be slow and steady than to rush it and mess up. Remember, when we hit our corners, we don't want to rotate our project before our needle starts to come back out of the leather, because otherwise when you rotate it, you'll undo that knot. We're going back up here on a thick part, so the machine wants to not walk up it. So sometimes we got to help her out a little bit. Ugh, it's a thick part right there. But if you rotate the project before the needle has started to come back up, the knot is not complete. And you can rotate it right out, and then you'll skip a stitch on your corner, which is always a sad day. All right, got a couple lock stitches in there. And then we burn. All right. So pretty good. We did get a little pull here on this guy, but I might be able to tuck it back in under that stitch. My stitch fell right between that little spot. But give a little bit of a hammer out. All right. So not too shabby. Now, guys, let's see if I can trim it. Inside looks good. That's all good. Let's start with the trimming on the inside and then move to the outside and get our feet wet, you know? Let's give that a shot. We'll see how it goes. It is kind of nice that it does have these little sections. It wasn't done all in one piece because that makes it easier to get your trim started. Are there people here?
There's a few. Everyone's sad because of Chuck.
Oh, right. Well, there'll be plenty of moments of silence of this video.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Liz is just having several moments of silence for Chuck Norris.
Several moments of silence.
Because as you can all guess, Liz was a giant Chuck Norris fan.
I watched some Walker, Texas Ranger when I was growing up. My parents aren't young chickens. Well, they weren't. Hi, Kelly. All right. Let's see if I can do this as good as Greg Carmack. This feels a little dark. So I have the number 4 Pro Beveler from SLC. And we're just going to grab the edge of our lining. The thing about this is it has to be very, very, very sharp. So hopefully this beveler is still nice and sharp. All right. And then we're just going to trim right next to that stitch line. Slow as she goes. It's looking pretty good. I know it's hard for you guys to see because it's black, but it looks pretty good. You might take your scissors and kind of get it started. I have a little bit of a stutter there from where I started. But once it gets going, it's pretty solid. Make sure you hold your tag so it's nice and taut while you cut this off. Man, I was so nervous about this part, but I'm feeling pretty good. Thanks, Chuck. And Greg for your quality education. Look at that. Clean. Clean, clean, clean. Very nice. Professional. All right, I'm going to take my scissors and start this guy. Just have a little bit to hold on to.
Robert said, I drive.
All right. Beautiful. All right, last little bit here on the inside. I feel like doing it on this other side is going to be much trickier because it is not smooth. It's bumpy. We'll see how it goes. Also, I almost, now that I'm doing this, this inside came up really easily and it felt just different than contact cement. And I wonder if they use rubber cement on this instead of just our contact cement. And that actually, I almost feel like I need to watch that video with Greg again and see if he suggested using a rubber cement, because I know he used it for something, but it's been so long ago, I just don't recall what it was. And it could be possible that it's a rubber. So, all right. So there is our inside edge binding trimmed up. So there might be a couple little spots here that I could go over again, but honestly, it's gonna be great. I don't think anybody's gonna worry about it. So all right, let's do the top. The good thing about contact cement though is it does peel right up, although rubber cement should do the same. All right. I didn't get that first little cut close enough. No need to rush this, kids. No need to rush. And then if you did get any excess glue on, you know, your surface of your leather, just take your glue eraser when you're done. And then just roll it off. Ew. Ew. Get a go to get here. I have to be my own spotter even. Make sure I'm in frame. This is a very satisfying process, if I do say so myself. A stone is watching while doing POs at work. That's fun. Man, I tell you guys what, switching systems is the pits. It's like learning how to walk again.
someone is pushing you down.
While you still have to do everything exactly the same. Like, while you still have to do all of your same work.
It's like trying to learn to walk while you're running away from something trying to kill you.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's not fun. All right. There. There we are. So we have deluxe clutch, all bound, trimmed up, and that's it. Once you make one of them, they're all going to be a lot easier. You can tool the back. You can use exotic. You can use fake exotic. You know, whatever you want to do. Put your magnetic clasp in there or turn lock clasp or whatever clasp you desire. That is a stunning little clutch. Very nice. Shoot, you could probably punch a hole and put in a little grommet and attach a wristlet if you wanted. This is a great interior. Look how many spots there are for all the credit cards one should not have, but probably does. I tell you what, I get more credit card offers and I'm just like, I don't understand who these people think that I am. I do have good credit, which I'm grateful for. And they all think that I need to use more money. And I'm like, this is terrifying. Anyways, there is version clutch number 1. It is 491-001. We are running a little bit shy of them, but we are expecting a restock towards the end of April. So if you're interested in this and you miss it on the website in the next month, just hang tight. More will be coming. They are very, very nice. They're $40, which once you put a back on it, you know, easily sells for $100 or more, depending on what you put on it. So just really stellar interior, pretty darn easy to assemble. So, all right. So there is that. Next, we have the 491-002, which is also just called the Ladies Deluxe Clutch. I don't know. And since we got in Hippo last week, which we sold some on live shopping this week, we will have more on live shopping next week. We have some on retail. And then probably here, we bought a decent amount. I don't actually know what the exact quantity was that came in, but it was a really big box. So we should have it for a little while. So if you're interested, check out live shopping next week. See what we have on there. If you are local, come in and check out what we've got. But I grabbed a piece of, we had like a 12-foot piece that we tried to sell this week and it didn't move. And so I made the executive decision that I was going to cut a little piece off of it, use it for this. And then I might cut it into pieces and sell it on retail, or maybe we'll do it next week. This piece is rather hefty and I thought about splitting it until I realized that it had this scar running through it. And so we're not going to split it. We're going to use it full weight, but I think that that is just fine. So this one is a 5'6", 5 to 7. It's 5 to 7. And so this clutch interior is more like a small purse. You know, you could put a little strap on it if you wanted to and make it a purse, carry up or carry down, put a wristlet on it. But you've got multiple card pockets and 2 zippers. And this thing goes together so easy. It's stupid easy. You're going to glue here. You're going to fold it up because, as we learned yesterday, things are longer when they're folded versus flat. Let's not forget that. 2 days in a row. And so I've already marked out one edge here because there was a little blemish that I wanted to avoid in the hide up in this section. And we are actually going to lace this. I'm not going to lace it on the video because you guys have watched Denny lace a million times. We have a million videos on lacing. So if you need help with lacing, you can look up one of those videos. There's a million videos about how to double loop lace. That's the right word. But I'm going to get this started, and then Stacy said he would lace it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to glue this down to this side. We are going to not glue this spine. This spine is going to stay loosey-goosey. so that it can open and close easily. So we're going to glue this down. I am going to take my ruler and draw a line here. And then we're going to trim it after we glue it. And then we're going to roll it over, glue the other side down, and trim it there too. So that's where my glue goes. But once again, tool it back. Put veg on it. Put an embossed piece on it. Whatever you want. These are ready to go. It doesn't take much to get them all finished. Then you can take them to the farmer's market. Then you can sell $120, $150 wallets, $200, $300 wallets, depending on what you put on it. I mean, this hippo one probably should be like $250 to $300. I'm going to glue it really good here so it doesn't come up, but I'm going to be a little bit shy around the edge here with my glue because we are lacing, and this is going to act like this is going to be, you know, my inside piece of leather, and this will be my outside piece of leather. And when you're lacing, you don't want to lace with a piece that's going to go around the whole thing because you're going to wear out your lace. It's going to stretch it all out. So you want to lace with 1.5 yards, 2 yards at a time, and then just splice and start a new one. And so that means you need to be able to get into the edge a little bit while you're lacing. And so if you've glued it to Kingdom Come and you can't get between the layers anymore, it's going to make it so much harder to splice. So don't worry about making sure that top edge is super, super glued down. Otherwise, your lacing is just going to be that much more difficult. Kevin would always, he used to lace, we used to sell a laced wallet way back in the day, and he would lace them. He would lace them while he was driving to and from work, back and forth to Ozark. He would drive with his knee and lace wallets. When we went to Wisa, the shop would make him like a dozen or 2 wallets, and he would lace them on the way there while driving. It was always a fun adventure with Kevin. So just a little bit of glue, but we don't do that anymore. But anyways, he used to just, it was his pet peeve if he could not splice his lace easily. If they had glued that edge so well that he could not get in there, he would come back in and be like, these wallets are terrible. There we go. I'm just going to do like a Bob Ross shadow of glue. Oh, look. Look, Denny can craft with me today. I miss Denny. All right. Glue on here. Remember that the cardboard doesn't soak up glue very well, so use less than you did on the front, and then make sure you have something to wipe off the excess because you're probably going to have it. Once again, we're using Aqualum 315 from Renia. It is a water-based contact cement that is very friendly for people that don't have great ventilation, because your solvent-based will wreck your lungs. So, you know, either get really good ventilation or use a water base. Brush it around. And once again, you're lacing, so like if the edge isn't perfect, it's not like you're trying to sand it and finish it. You're lacing it, so you're covering it up. Are there any comments on Facebook? or YouTube.
Let's see, you have your usual band feed, so there's not a million videos on Lacing, just saying. They were arguing over the difference between talk, and talk.
We have special customers.
Elizabeth Million said, "Thank you for the video on Facebook."
Aw, you're welcome. I think she was here yesterday. I just remember there was another Elizabeth because that's my name. I am rather pleased with this little guy. Yesterday I was feeling unsure. It's like a couple little whoopties, but just practice. Practice with your beveler, doing some trimming. And honestly, guys, if you've looked at finished leather goods in any high-end retail store, they're going to be poopier than anything that you could make probably, or at least of the same caliber of little blemishes here or there, because they're made by some machines, but also just people in factories across the world. We're all doing the same thing. So, you know, you're sewing with a sewing machine. There's going to be maybe a knot on the top or the bottom where you wish that it wasn't. Or maybe your back stitches don't look as pretty as you wish that they did. Literally, go to Dillard's, go to Macy's, go wherever. Look at those bags that people are paying hundreds of dollars for that are made in factories. They have blemishes. There's a certain level of quality control that companies are okay with, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to sell you the product. Mm-hmm. Or, I don't even know. I would say it's like Coach, where everything is perfect, but that's not even probably true. Unless it's one of those very specific high-end brands that's actually still hand-sewn by actual, this is a rant. All right, let's line up our things. Our glue has cured. So we're gonna line up this top.
Sorry, they were discussing, not arguing, my bad.
See, my husband likes to call things discussions when they feel like arguments. All right. Hang on, Denny. We're going to do some hammering. Also, I'm not 100% sure why I'm doing that, because I don't need the edge to be stuck real well, because I want to lace it. Life is hard. All right. We've got that on there, so now we are going to trim. Liz, don't put your head in the way. This hippo was thick. Sometimes it's easier on a corner to take a little chunk at a time. And than to try to cut around the radius. All right. So now we have this. Good gracious, chunky. I do suppose hippos are quite large animals. Ugh, this is such a beautiful piece. Look at all this character. It's velvety. I love it. All right, so we got that side done. Once again, we're not just going to lay this out flat and glue this other side down because radiuses are longer. So I'm going to go ahead and zip that up. We are not gluing the center. I'm going to wrap it around. And then I'm going to mark where I want my glue on this side. And make sure I end my line right at the end of that panel, like right here. I don't want to make my mark go any farther than that because that tells me when I open it where I can put my ruler and where the glue is going to end. I come in here, go from the other side because oh, it's too tight. Line that up. All right, and that's where my glue goes. I want to hang an animal tail from mine. I think that would be awesome. You should totally do that. Yeah, before you glue this panel down, just like rivet a tail here. Do I have? We had a whole bunch of springbok tails, which now that I'm recalling, I was going to sell on live shopping and I don't know where they went. They were supposed to be on a pallet that came over. I need to look for those. Those little springbok tails would be cute, especially on like a small clutch. Or you could just do a massive foxtail and say, big tail, don't care. We got any Chuck Norris sayings in the chat yet? Did he come in with that something about a hippo that couldn't beat Chuck Norris? I don't know. Come on, somebody.
Well, no, we did. There was one right at the beginning. It was Chuck Norris would tell the leather to just conform.
Thank you. Chuck Norris would tell the leather, just conform. All right. Got a little glue bow. If you're not lacing and you are finishing these edges or painting them, you want to make sure that your glue is super solid all the way out to the side, because you want these things to be secured together forever. So you want that glue to be nice and even all the way to the edge. That way when you sand it and you get that edge all smooth, you don't have any gaps. But Andy says the Grim Reaper has a black eye and walking with a limp this morning. All right, let that dry.
Someone on YouTube was asking, how does one care for hippo after project completion?
I don't think there's really anything that needs to be done with the hippo. You could, I don't think it needs, so hippo is chrome tanned. Most of your exotics are chrome tanned unless otherwise specified. Almost all exotics are chrome tanned. So that means they're really pretty finished. They no longer absorb water. The surface of hippo has a really velvety, nubuck, suede-y texture. And so I would be hesitant. I wouldn't put a finish on it. Maybe treat it with like suede cleaner and like suede products. I actually, but it shouldn't really need anything to be done with it for quite some time. Right after you get it, it's gonna be fine for a really long while. Maybe if somebody has it and they're using it pretty hard for several years, they might try a suede. I would go with some sort of a suede type product for this, and then test it on an inconspicuous piece.
Same apply to he said, or elephant for that matter. He said, what I mean is, how would you advise customers to clean and care?
I would tell them to find suede, like a suede cleaner. We carry a couple different, like Bic makes a suede cleaner. Maybe Phoebe's also does. I'm not a, I know for sure that Bic makes one. Phoebe's does make like a little suede bar that's a cleaner. So if it actually gets dirty, like say you drop it in a puddle and you need to do something with it, I would suggest that like little brush with the little bar situation. Yeah, but it doesn't need to be oiled. Really, that's mostly veg tans. Chrome tans are pretty well done. Sometimes the finish needs to be reapplied. Like if you have upholstery leather, you put a finish back over it. Like, you know, the spot that you sit is going to get worn off the finish, or where you have your arm on a armrest or whatever. Like you're going to wear finishes off there. But this doesn't have a finish. You know what, guys? Let me reach out to my exotics people. Let me see if they have anything that they recommend, because like we have a reptile cleaner, but that's definitely not what we're looking at here. And because the surface is so open, let me see if there's anything different on the market that I don't know about that would be recommended. And then maybe we can put it in the comment. Are they on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay, we can respond back to your comment on YouTube. Oh, wait a minute. It's in the chat.
Yeah.
Send me an email, live@Springfield Leather, and I will do some research and I'll get back to you. All right, so before I glue this side down, I'm going to trim my little gusset areas with my ruler. So I'm gonna butt it up here, line it up with my line, and then we're just gonna trim that a little bit in to where I did my glue. Oh, Rattlesnake didn't know. He didn't know. I'm so sorry, Travis. Hi, welcome to the show. Chuck Norris is no longer with us. You haven't been on the internet today, have you? I mean, I haven't really been on it. Isaac told me, so. And then I tried to act like I was cool and ask Aaron in gathering if he knew, and he already knew. So I was like, dang it. All right. All right. We are nice and set up. We've got our gusset sections trimmed. So now we are going to place on the side. Maybe I'm going to go this way. Boom, shakalaka. Oh my goodness, this is going to be so pretty. Since I'm doing the video alone today, we've had many moments of silence for him. Vicariously. Oh, guys, this is going to be the prettiest clutch. Good. Now trim. Hey, you know what? It's at least it's a Friday. We can all have a sad, morny day, and then tomorrow, we can party for Chuck. How did Chuck like to party? Does anybody know? I don't know. I didn't really keep up with his personal life. Did he have a personal life? He was Chuck Norris. He was only ever doing badass things. That was Chuck Norris.
That was his personal.
That was his personal life. All right. Then don't cut your zipper, guys. Tuck it in, tuck it in. Oh, for Pete's sakes. All right. Oh, my goodness gracious. Look at her. All right. So Stacy is going to lace this sucker up. It's 11:51. I got 10 minutes. So I will go ahead and punch it out. Sorry, Denny, I'm going to have to move you. Right there. All right, so I got my 1/8 inch chisels, 1 3 and like an 8. And then, oh, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna hang, because it's gonna be awkward. So I'm just gonna like hang it off the edge here. And then attempt to mark a line? We'll see. Honestly, I'm gonna take this to the sander and I'm gonna sand, maybe I should punch from this side. That actually might be a lot easier. And then if you are lacing this, My one thing is splicing right here is going to be awful. And so don't do that because you don't have anything to hide your splice. So this is not a spot you want to be. So you want to like start lacing here, you know, lace around. And then if you feel like you had enough lace to start getting over here, just stop right here. Just cut it off and start again. And just make sure that you don't need to splice on either of these sides. You'll thank me later. So take this, sand it all down, make everything flush, because once again, the cleaner your edge on the inside, the prettier your edge on the outside. You won't have any lumpy clumpies. So I'm just gonna go from here. Plus, I don't even know if I could see it if I did it out here. Oh yeah, that makes a little bit of a line. But I still think punching on this side is good. This is about a 1/4 inch in, which I feel like is pretty good. I think that's pretty all right. And then I'm just gonna mark my line where the actual interior is and not the hippo, because the interior really shouldn't go anywhere when I'm sanding. It'll just be the hippo gets lined up with it better. All right. Cover your splice with a tail. Or just splice where no one will know. Kevin does not, well, I think Kevin and Denny both. They don't like to splice where they do, you know, like some people will skive off 2 ends, glue them together, and then keep lacing. They don't like to do that. They like to just tuck it inside and then start a whole new one and bring it in from the outside. They find that easier. Who's thick?
Here you go. Says, fear not, says check Norris to calm down trembling angels as he enters heaven's gates. There you go. Your check Norris.
It's the end of an era. All right, I should be back on track. The only issue one might have with punching from the inside to the outside is that if you're not making sure your tool is very like perfectly straight every time, your line can wobble a little bit. So always, you know, make sure you're holding it pretty vertically so that you don't get like 8 stitches here and then it goes up a notch, and you get 8 stitches here and then it goes down, and you get, try to just make sure it's consistent. All right, folks. I mean, that's the gist of it. You punch your holes through the thing and then you lace it up. So yeah, I'll finish punching all my holes through. I'll take it and I will sand up these edges. You can see how it's just a little bit funky. So just, you know, take it to your sander or hand sand it or whatever. Just get all that nice and flush, and then we'll lace it. So once this is all done next week, I'm sure somebody will take a picture of it and post it somewheres. It's gotta look good. It's gonna be so exotic, from Africa, Australia, and India. Anybody was curious, but it's gonna look amazing. Alrighty, folks, that's our videos for the week. Thank you so much for joining me. Once again, I just want to do this caveat. We have a limited amount of these interiors in stock right now, but we are restocking. So in a month and a half, we will be fully stocked again. We will be keeping these on hand. They are a great resource for you in your leather craft, and they're $40. So if we're not already sold out by now, because I was talking about them yesterday, go get you 1 or 2 of them, and then we'll have them again in about a month. Thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you next time.